Well, I always have a secret feeling that I'm really a fake or something. That I know my teacher says, why do you feel that about yourself? And then he starts to say, but you're a human being. I said, yes, I am. I said, but I feel like I have to be more.
Well, now your success has been or close to it, the dream of every American girl, I guess. After you got what you want, did you want it?
As I say, the thing I like the most is to become a real actress. And I remember when I was a kid, sitting in the front row at the movies on Saturday afternoon. And I would never come out of the movie. They'd have to come and get me, I'd sit in the front row. And I'd think how wonderful it would be to be an actress and so forth. But I didn't really realize about acting, except I appreciated what I saw. Bad, good, didn't matter. I enjoyed it very much, everything that I would see. Just anything that would move on the screen.
I used to go to movies on Saturday night when I worked in a factory, and that was my only time that I could enjoy myself, really, that I really relaxed and enjoyed. If I went to a movie and it was a bad movie, or I thought people didn't do their best, kind of did it sloppy or something, I really was mad, angry when I left, because then I didn't have anything to go on for a whole week. I'd wait for another week. So I always feel that I work for the ones who work hard, and they go to the box office and put down their money and they want to be entertained, or I always feel I do it for them. But I do care because I know how the others feel.
Point one moment when your career went where it is instead of someplace else. Did you go through a revolving door and meet somebody in it, or turn left and you might have turned right?
No, not actually. I modeled, and then
Howard Hughes had just had his airplane accident, remember? And he sent for them, and I went to 20th, where Ben Lyon was head of casting. He came and he says, who is this girl? So he said, I look so fresh and young, and I don't know what else. Well, they made a Technicolor test the following day, which was unusual, but they sort of sneaked it in. All of them got together in the talent department, and they put me under contract, under stock contract. Well, I wanted my mother's maiden name because I felt that rightfully was my name. I couldn't take my father's name very well. So I wanted at least something that was related. So I said, I want the name Monroe, which was my mother's maiden name.
although I knew I didn't know anything about acting, but I wanted to know, and I wanted the experience, but, well, that's how it is.
He was very enthusiastic. I mean, he said, he had high hopes for me for a year, and then I was dropped. Then I was hired at Columbia. Then when I was hired back after the Asphalt Jungle, to 20th Century Fox, Zanuck said, I understand you used to be here. I said, that's right. Well, things are quite different now. And he said I had a three-dimensional quality having to do with sex. He says, quite reminiscent of Harlow. And the lawyer, he said, he was telling me about my tax deductions, my I don't know what, and about, lawyers at 20th Century Fox. I said, I don't know about that. I only know I want to be wonderful.
I remember when I got the part in Gentlemen Prefer Blonde, Jane Russell, she was the brunette in it, and I was the blonde. She got $200,000 for it, and I got my $500 a week, but to me that was considerable. But the only thing was I couldn't get a dressing room. And I said, I really got to this kind of a level. I said to them, look, after all, I am the blonde, and it is Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. Because they always kept saying, remember, you're not a star.
I says, well, whatever I am, I'm the blonde. I mean, it got to that. I just felt like I was on the outside of the world, and suddenly everything opened up. I thought, gee, what happened? You know, the world became friendly. It opened up to me. Coming out of my apartment in New York, you know, 57th Street, when I come out of the door, they say, Marilyn, hi, how do you feel this morning? You know, to me it's an honor. At first they whistle because, you know, they oh, it's this girl, she's got blonde hair, she's not out of shape. And then they say, my God, it's Marilyn Monroe. Well, I know I've been invited places to sort of, you know, kind of brighten up a dinner table. And I find that I can have kind of real kind of pleasure even. And when I know I was really it's sort of like being a musician. You're invited, so you'll play. Gee, sometimes I think I'm fooling somebody. I don't know who. Maybe myself. Maybe others. Sometimes people want to see if you're real. They kind of look to you, towards you, for some kind of, something that's, I guess, away from their everyday life. I guess you call that entertainment, huh?
But a lot of guys are scared of you, though, because you're such an institution now. Really you are. You're a kind of a national possession. Do you feel that you belong to the nation as a whole?
I don't know quite what you mean by that. I live here.
That'll do it very nicely.
Are you always recognized wherever you go in the nearby towns and in New York?
No, not really. I can put on an old polo coat and no makeup and get along pretty well.
You can get away with the gag I use. I have a kind of a disguise, a mustache and some trick glasses, and I part my hair in the middle.
Oh, I use a wig sometimes.
Does it work?
It has.
Do you miss your anonymity? Do you miss being able to go out and not be recognized and go places so that, as it used to be before you became famous, so no one would pay any attention to you except...
I'll tell you, I do in a way. However, I'm terribly grateful for everything that's happened, because I remember when things weren't like this at all. But you do miss sometimes just being able to be completely yourself and someplace, and people just know you as another human being.
And there is a need for aloneness, which I don't think that most people realize for a creative person or an actress. It's almost having certain kind of secrets for yourself that you'll let the whole world in on. But you know, there has to be those moments of privacy.
Well, I always have a secret feeling that I'm really a fake or something, or phony, or you know how people feel about themselves. They have something secret they feel about themselves. I always feel that. I know my teacher says, why do you feel that about yourself? And then he starts to say, but you're a human being. I said, yes, I am. I said, but I feel like I have to be more. He says, no.
How long do you think you'll be at the top?
At the top isn't so important. What I'd like to do, that is what I would like to accomplish. I would like to be a good actress.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a matter of being on top, because I think some of the best actors and actresses perhaps aren't on the top. So that's not the thing.
You know, since this article is going to be on fame, I like to state here and now, fame is fickle. And I know it. Fame will go by. You know, so long I've had you, fame. I told you it was fickle. So at least it's something. something that, let's say, I experienced. And, but this isn't my aim. This is what I wanted to make clear. In some ways, it has its compensations. It does.
I think that the public would be quite disillusioned the way the industry treats its stars.
An industry, I don't think, should behave like, let's say, a mother whose child maybe has, let's just say the worst is run out in front of a car. So what do they do to the child? But instead of clasping the child to them, they start beating up on the child. I mean, those will try to be me. I don't know. Whenever I don't know, I guess the studios kind of put them up to it. I don't crank anything. You know, I'm not a Model T. Yeah, I don't crank. I don't know, but I think that's kind of disrespectful to kind of refer to it that way. We are not machines, no matter how much they want to say we are not. I think that every weakness is exaggerated. A lot of people have real quirky problems. They wouldn't dare have anyone know. But one of my problems is that I'm late.
Well, I don't think I'm late all the time, but maybe it is because I can't go as fast as other people. You know, people that get in automobiles, they run into each other because they never stop. They're going like that, and I don't think that mankind, it's intended for them to go like that. They're not supposed to be like machines. And I think you get more done the other way, by doing it more sensibly.
I guess they think that why I'm late has to do with some kind of arrogance. I think it's the opposite of arrogance. I also feel that I'm not in this big American rush. You gotta get there, and what's there when you're there? And I don't want to hold anybody up, and I don't want to keep people waiting. But the main thing is, I do want to be prepared when I get there.